It's time of the year's graduation time. I actually just got back from my sister's graduation from Benedictine College yesterday, so on the road a bunch just yesterday. And here today we commemorate our graduates here from Lyons High School. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but you've been in school for the past, 13, 14 years? 186 days of the year. 186 days. Kansas law, 186 days you have to show up to school, which I don't know if they told you. They probably didn't because it really upsets them, but that's the most days of any state in the United States. Kansas, we're on top because we have the most days you're lawfully required to attend school, so you're welcome. But why? Why do they make them go to school so much? Why do they make you go to school so much? A lot of reasons. One of those reasons, though, is because if you're going to learn, you need to do it more than just every once in a while. Like if you're going to learn to read, if you're going to learn to write, if you're going to learn to do math, all these other things, it takes a little bit of dedication. You can't just show up when you feel like it. You need to show up more than once a month, once a year. It takes some time. And since they know that you're not going to voluntarily show up for school, especially once you hit about 12, they're like, it's the law that you show up to school. So they lawfully require you to show up to school. Dedication, though, that's what it's going to take. Hours a day, daily, for weeks on end, for years on end. I once had an 8th grader. They were very upset that they had to go to school. Classic. And they're just like, I don't understand why we have to do this. And I told them, hey, do you read better now than you did when you were in 2nd grade? They're like, well, yeah, that's why you have to do it. I'm like, I know it's painful each and every day, but over time, you actually do get smarter, and that's helpful. It takes dedication. But it's not just for school. It's a lot of things. If you want to play sports, you can't just show up on game day and say, put me in, coach, I'm ready to play. He's going to be like, can you run a mile? Well, I can't run. Like, I really have bad cardiovascular health. Do you know how to play baseball? I don't know how to play baseball, but you can put me in, coach, trust me. Like, well, no. If you're going to play baseball, if you're going to play any sport, it takes dedication. It takes hours a day practicing that. If you want to get in shape or if you want to lose weight, okay, we know, I need to go to the gym, but you actually have to show up to the gym. And then you actually have to keep a regular diet. You actually have to sleep well. It takes dedication to those things. You can't just think about it, or you can't just do it once in a while. If you want to play a musical instrument, I play a cello. I'm a nerd. Okay, nerds together. If you want to learn a musical instrument, you can't just grab it and say, I can play the guitar now. I can play the cello now. No, it takes dedication, day after day, week after week, year after year. We know that. If we want to grow in something, if we want to develop in something, we know that it's going to take dedication, constancy, work every day. Anyone want to disagree? In about 6 minutes, you won't have the chance to disagree, and I'm about to trick you into something. It's time to disagree now. Okay. Here's the thing. We've known this for a while. Okay, people have known this for a while. When something's important, when something is central to your life, you dedicate yourself to it. Okay, maybe school, maybe that wasn't your thing. It's not everyone's thing. That's fine. But people much wiser than you, people much smarter than you, people who have your best interest in mind, they were like, no, this is so important, we are going to make you do it 186 days of the year. That's how important it is. We say, all right, you're wiser than me, you know better than me, I'll do that. This ability to be educated is something that is life-changing. I don't know if you guys flunked out of history. Maybe you did. Don't tell us. Don't raise your hand. But if you study history, this ability to be educated is a very recent development. For the vast history of civilization, of humanity, people did not know how to read. People didn't know great math skills. Like, this was just unheard of that we can be so it's life-changing. And it's so life-changing that people say, we are going to force you to do it 186 days of the year. Okay, the apostles, when it came to the disciples and the apostles, they had a very similar experience. They experienced something that was life-changing, something that changed everything. When Jesus rose from the dead, it wasn't just a nice miracle. It wasn't Jesus' last party trick, then he's like, ta-da, I'm alive. No, Jesus' resurrection from the dead meant that everything was now different. The world was now different. In people's lives, the trajectory they saw themselves going was life, living, get a job, all these things, dead. When Jesus rises from the dead, all of a sudden people realize, yeah, life, living, job, all this, but it's not going to end. There can be something more. My life can have a new horizon. My life can have a new direction. That's what the apostles realized. It wasn't just a cool miracle Jesus did. No, they realized everything is now different. Everything. And so they changed their lives accordingly to go after that. Same thing with school. You can know that it's important to read, but unless you dedicate yourself to it, you're never going to learn to read. You can know that if I want to lose weight, I got to go to the gym, eat better, and get some sleep. But then you have to do it. Okay. Same here. The apostles, the disciples knew they had to dedicate themselves to a new way of life, or this was just going to be a nice thought that meant really nothing, practically speaking. And so that's what we've been talking about the past several weeks. They dedicated themselves to very concrete things. Day one, they started dedicating themselves to the most practical of things, specifically the breaking of the bread, the teaching of the apostles, the communal life, and the prayers. Those four things is what Scripture tells us they dedicated themselves to. And if you read Acts of the Apostles chapter 2, keep reading, it says that every day they showed up to the temple and to people's homes to do this. So it wasn't just once in a while, when it felt good, when I feel like I needed it. No, daily they dedicated themselves to this. Just like daily they got dedicated to going to school. Right? This is how important it is. They daily dedicated themselves to it, and we've been talking about that. They dedicated themselves to that breaking of the bread each and every week, to this Eucharist, this Sunday Mass. They dedicated themselves to the teaching of the apostles, not just to any talking head they found on the news, not just to any influencer they found on TikTok or Instagram, but they found themselves dedicated to the teaching of the apostles. And then also to the communal life. They never said, I just need Jesus and me. When I'm sitting in my room and I'm drinking a cup of coffee, I feel close to Jesus. That's all I need. No, they said, we need the community. This community life, as frustrating as people can be, we need this community as well. And so today I want to talk about that last element, this element of the prayers that they dedicated themselves to. And as I told you a few weeks ago, they dedicated themselves to the prayers, plural. Not to praying. They were praying, don't worry. But to the prayers. What does that mean? If you go to a very Jewish part of the world, even to this day, go to New York City, go to Israel, what you'll find is very Orthodox Jews take time every day at specific times to pray. When I was flying over to Israel for my pilgrimage a couple months ago, there would be specific times of the day where the Jews on the plane would stand up and do their prayers. When I was in Israel, one of the striking things is 5 times a day, the Muslim call to prayer would go off. So if you've seen a mosque, you've seen the tower on them. At the top of their tower is not bells, they've got speakers. And the speakers start the call to prayer. And so very devout, very Orthodox Muslims will stop what they're doing, take out their prayer mat, and pray at those times. So this is a very ancient thing. This is not like they'd invented this a couple of weeks ago. So when we're told that the earliest of Christians dedicated themselves to the prayers, it meant that they dedicated themselves to continue praying each and every day at specific times of the day. Why? Because they knew I have to find a concrete and practical way to turn my attention back to God. We're busy now. They were also busy back then. They had jobs, they had families, they were busy back then. And they knew if I don't take the time, if I don't stop what I'm doing and turn my attention back to God, turn my attention back to Christ and his resurrection, I'm just going to forget everything. So they knew this was going to be important for them. Here's the thing, though. When I say pink elephant, what do you think of? A pink elephant, thank you. When I say like a good neighbor, you think? State Farm is there. Thanks, Tori. Okay, all right, we get it. Like these things, like we think of one thing, boom, our mind immediately goes to it. When I say prayers or praying, you immediately think, oh no, now I have to say more words. Father wants me to rattle off some more prayers every day. Yes and no, mostly no. Jesus himself says, when you pray, do not babble like the pagans do. In other words, Jesus says, please don't just say a bunch of words because you're supposed to say a bunch of words. That's really weird. Please don't just say words. Prayer, when we get down to it, prayer is about fixing our attention on God, fixing our attention back on Christ, on this event that has changed everything. Prayer is paying attention to that ache within us, to that longing we have for more, and knowing it's God that fulfills that. One author put it, it is the heart that prays, not your mouth. Your heart is the thing that actually prays. We heard that in our second reading from St. Peter, right? Sanctify Christ as Lord in your hearts. Not just saying words, like truly in your heart, sanctify him, make him the Lord. Here's what I'm getting at. Prayer, it's not just about these words that we need to say. Fundamentally, prayer is about turning our attention, turning our focus back to the Lord, recognizing and reminding ourselves that the reason I do what I'm doing, the reason that I wake up in the morning, the reason that I don't just die of despair is because Christ has risen and he is there for me. And he continues to sustain me each and every day. And we turn our attention back to him. That's what the apostles were doing. The apostles dedicated themselves to the prayers, to turning their attention back to the Lord at specific times throughout the day because of how central and essential this is. I was very blessed growing up because I had a family that taught me this. Our life was literally structured around the prayers that we would pray. Every single morning we would wake up, but we would wake up at so early because we had to get the family to Mass by 7 a.m. every day. So our day, the reason we woke up in the morning is because, we had to get to Mass. It's early. Here we go. So our parents would drag all 10 of us out of bed, and by 7 a.m. we were in Mass. We would get home and have breakfast, but before breakfast, prayer. We would have school, but before school, prayer. We would have lunch, but before lunch, prayer. We would have dinner, but before dinner, prayer. We would be getting ready for bed, and in the evening we would have family rosary. We would be going to bed, but before bed, prayer. So these things that we did each and every day, these things that you do each and every day, it was structured, it was always preceded, it was always connected to prayer. So what our parents did is, at specific times of the day, consistently, daily, each and every day, they placed Christ, they placed God at the center of our lives. Our parents didn't need to talk to us about Jesus every 3 minutes. We knew that our lives were centered on God. We knew that. That's just the way that we lived. So this is the big point. If you want to be serious about your faith, you have to be serious about your prayer. If you want to be serious about your faith, you have to be serious about your prayer. We've all heard of Mother Teresa, right? She's at least one Catholic we've all heard of. Mother Teresa would say, anyone who is too busy to pray is too busy. No matter who you are, you cannot allow yourself to become too busy to pray, she says. If you think you're too busy to pray, then you're deceiving yourself. What's she getting at? She's saying we're all busy people. And yet if you're too busy to pray, that means your priorities are a little out of place. That means you've forgotten the one essential thing in your life, which is Christ himself. If you're too busy to pray, that means you're too busy. You need to think about your life. So this is the challenge to you, challenge for the graduates. You guys all have phones, right? No? That's a lie. Gosh, lying to a priest. No, you don't have them on you maybe. That's good, okay. No, so the challenge is to pray 3 times a day. To begin this practice of consistently praying 3 times a day. So you take out your phone, you set your alarm for 3 times of the day, and at those 3 times, you stop and you pray. And there's 3 levels to this. Level 1, we're going to keep it easy. This is how Jesus taught us to pray, so it's a good one. 3 times a day, I just want you to pray the Our Father. And I've mentioned this one before. Alarm goes off, but here's the rule. Then you have to put your phone down. You can't keep scrolling through something and pray the Our Father. Put your phone down, take a deep breath, calm your heart, calm your mind, turn your attention back to the Father, and pray the Our Father. It'll take you 30 seconds. And yet that simple practice throughout the day, over time, daily, monthly, it's going to focus your attention back on the Lord. That's level 1. You can do it. Level 2, if you want to level up. 3 times a day, Alarm goes off. At one time, I want you to pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet, at another time, the Rosary, and at the other time, to take 10 minutes to read Scripture. Start with the Gospels if you need somewhere to start. Okay, so maybe it'd be easier to read Scripture in the morning before your day gets going. Maybe around lunchtime you can pray the Rosary. Maybe in the afternoon or in the evening you can pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet. But 3 times a day, alarm goes off, and you dedicate yourself to this prayer. Not just saying words, but turning our attention back to the Lord and using words that are helpful to help us. Level 3, if you really want to level up, there's this prayer called the Liturgy of the Hours. This would be the official prayer of the church, and the main hours of this are in the morning, in the evening, and at night. Not coincidence that this is when the Jews would pray. We stole it from them. Okay, in the morning, in the evening, and at night, we dedicate ourselves to prayer. Ever since I was 19 years old, I've been praying the Liturgy of the Hours every single day. When I got ordained a deacon, I made a vow that I would pray these prayers every single day. And it's a beautiful prayer. It's the official prayer of the church. It takes psalms, it takes readings from Scripture, it takes petitions. The Our Father is even built into it. And so 3 times a day, you pray. It only takes about 8 minutes. And yet, it's a profound way to pray throughout the day, each and every day. If you want to know more about that, let me know. There's easy resources to help you with that. Don't feel like you just need to figure it out on your own. I'll help you. Just let me know. But that's the point. If you want to be serious about your faith, you have to begin to be serious about your prayer. It's as easy as these 3 steps. Pick a level or kind of make your own level. Dedicate yourself to it. Set your alarm. Make it a priority. Do it. And then put your heart into it. Don't just say the words. Take this short time each and every day to turn your heart back to the Lord. Why? Because as you agreed to 7.5 minutes ago, you all agreed, if I'm going to be dedicated to something, if I want to develop in something, if I want to grow in something, if something is central and essential and important to my life, I have to be dedicated to it. That's what prayer does for us each and every day. We do it with sports. We do it with school. We do it with so many things. And so with the Lord, how much more so should we take that time to dedicate to Him each and every day? This is the way we turn our attention back to Him. This is the way, this is yet another way that we allow the resurrection of the Lord to continue to transform us in our daily lives.